You're back with Jordan Hale, still transmitting across what's left of the airwaves. 99.3 FM. The only thing more stubborn than static these days. If you're hearing me tonight, I want you to do one thing before anything else. Breathe. Just stop for a second and let your breath move slow. I know it's easy to hold it all in lately, like the tension's a dam inside your chest, and cracking even once means everything will flood out. But you have to keep that breath steady, because the air might be thin, but it's still yours. Now, some of you have written to me. Well, scribbled on whatever scraps of paper you could find and passed them to scouts or left them in drop points. You ask about Washington, D.C. You ask if the government's still functioning, if anyone's answering phones in the Pentagon, if the president's alive. I'll tell you what I know. The last confirmed government transmission came out of Fort Meade 12 days ago. It wasn't long, just a burst, 5 seconds, a coordinates ping, followed by 3 words. Signal not secure. Since then, nothing. Not from Langley, not from Cheyenne Mountain, not even NORAD's cold breath on the satellite feeds. But I don't think they're gone. Not all of them. Here's why. 2 nights ago, we caught something on the long-range band, something tight, encrypted, bouncing off upper atmosphere layers. The kind of signal you only get when someone's trying not to be found. And it wasn't in English. It was coded military telemetry. Directional, intentional, moving. Whatever's out there, they're watching us, but someone's watching them back. For those of you in the southern states, here's your update. Texas is hanging by threads. Amarillo's gone. Lights blotted out one by one until nothing remained but that green horizon glow. El Paso still has a ham relay, though it's weak and only transmitting during the early hours. They say their community's holding together underground, literally. Utility tunnels and parking garages converted into shelter. They've mapped out an entire grid down there, and they're looking for anyone with knowledge of power systems or filtration units. If that's you, and you're within 100 miles, you might want to make contact. New Mexico's desert sky has turned strange. There's talk of floating arcs, metal without sound, shadows that ripple instead of reflect. But more than that, people are going missing. Not attacked, not torn apart, just gone. Left a bag, a flashlight, half of a walkie message that cuts off mid-sentence, like someone stepped into thin air and it shut behind them. Here's something I need to tell you, and I'm not saying it to scare anyone. I'm saying it because if I don't, and you walk into it unprepared, you won't get a second chance. They're not just above us anymore. There are reports now, small ones, hard to confirm, of things underground, in the sewers, the subway systems. New York's was the first to go silent. We thought maybe it was flooding or collapse. But then we got word from a crew in Philly, ex-municipal workers with gear and maps of the old maintenance shafts. They said they heard something down there. Not footsteps, but a hum. Like electricity, but wrong. Organic. They didn't stick around to see more. Smart people. If you're near any kind of tunnel system, storm drain, old bunker, whatever, don't go in alone. Hell, maybe don't go in at all. We don't know what those things want from us, but they're not waiting to be invited anymore. Switching over now to something less grim. I want to tell you about a man named Garrett. He's out in Saskatchewan. A farmer, or used to be. Before the lights came, he had a quiet life. Grew wheat, raised chickens, took care of his wife and kid. Now, he's built what he calls a light trap. Mirrors, spotlights, even disco balls, anything that bounces light off in random directions. He set it up in the middle of a field, and he swears by it. Says the ships avoid it. like the reflections confuse them, scatter their sensors, or mess with their patterns. He doesn't know why. And honestly, neither do I. But it's working for him. So if you've got old car mirrors, tin foil, shiny surfaces, might be worth trying. Sometimes the strangest things turn out to be our best defense. To those out west, near the Rockies, you're holding better than most. The terrain makes it harder for them to track, harder for them to land, if that's what you want to call it. We're hearing about small groups forming enclaves near the old mining towns. Places with natural defenses, high elevation, narrow passes. One of them calls itself Lantern Valley. Not its real name, but they renamed it after they got the lights back on. Solar panels, makeshift wind farms, even a gravity-fed water system. They've got engineers, former park rangers, even a couple of teachers. They read to the kids by candlelight at night, I'm told. Stories from before, about wolves and stars and people who didn't give up. If anyone from Lantern Valley is listening, you're doing more than surviving. You're showing the rest of us how to live again. Time check. It's nearing midnight here. The wind outside is picking up. Feels like another pulse is coming through. Low-frequency tremors that hit deep in the chest. You don't hear them so much as feel them. They come in waves. Sometimes with lights. Sometimes with silence. If you feel one coming, get low. Cut the lights. Wait. Don't panic. They seem to pass faster when we don't move, like they're looking for motion, or heat, or thought. Hell, maybe they can sense that too. I've got one last message before I rest my voice for a minute. A woman near Thunder Bay reported something different. She said she was alone. Her husband had gone out to check the fences and never came back. But then, 2 nights later, he returned. Same face, same voice, same wedding band. But something was off. He didn't blink right, didn't speak unless spoken to, and when she touched his hand, he was cold. Not corpse cold, just empty, like touching glass that had forgotten how to be warm. She locked the door that night. He didn't stop her, just stood there, still, staring. The next morning he was gone again. No tracks, no sign of him ever being there. I don't know what to make of that, but I know she's not the only one. If you've seen something like that, someone who should be gone, coming back wrong, let me know. You're not losing your mind. You're seeing the cracks, and they're real. This is Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM. Still with you, still listening. I'll be back in just a little while. If you're just tuning in, if there's even such a thing anymore, this is Jordan Hale, still transmitting from what's left of 99.3 FM. The sky outside's got that look again, that dim glow like someone left the oven light on in a dead house. You can't really see the source. It's not bright. It's just always there. Like the colors bled into the clouds and doesn't want to come out. You'd think we'd be used to it by now, but every time I look up, my stomach knots. Not because it's scary, but because it never blinks, like something's watching. And we're the only ones who forgot to turn off the lights. I want to talk to you about a girl named Mia. She's 10, lived in Idaho Falls. Her parents sent a handwritten letter by courier. Not a fancy drone drop or anything like that. Just a person, on foot. Took 6 days to reach us. They said Mia hasn't spoken since the sky turned, not a word. But she draws, every day. Same thing over and over. A figure standing in a cornfield, arms too long, face hidden, and behind it, a ship, tall and thin, almost like a tower. with roots coming out the bottom. Roots. She draws them clutching the dirt, as if they're feeding off the ground. No one told her to draw that. No one in her family ever saw a ship like that. But we've heard of them now, from 3 different parts of the continent, always near agricultural zones. Always quiet. No lights, no sound. They just stand there, doing nothing. Or maybe doing something we don't understand. If you've seen something like that, keep your distance. The one near Kansas reportedly caused a blackout within a 10-mile radius, and every compass nearby spun like a bottle in a party no one wanted to be at. These things aren't always loud. Sometimes the silence is worse. To those in Maine, yes, your last signal got through. The lighthouse at Cape Elizabeth is still functional, they say. Someone's been keeping the beam on at night, cycling it between land and sea. It's a long shot, but the theory is simple. If the ships don't like light patterns they can't predict, maybe the beam keeps them away. Or maybe someone out on the water needs to know where the shore is. You asked if you should leave. I don't have an answer. I've never been in your shoes. But I'll say this. Anywhere someone keeps the lights on for others, that's not a place I'd abandon lightly. Still, no word from Mexico City. Nothing in or out. The last we heard, 16 days ago, was from a freelance journalist holed up near UNAM, sending fragments through a stolen satellite rig. He described massive displacement events, not bombings, not invasions, just vanishing. 1 minute, whole blocks bustling with life. The next, nothing. Air still vibrating like something had just passed through. No bodies, no wreckage, just cold, empty space where people used to be. Whatever this is, it's not war. Not the kind we know. It's something else. Something slow and wide, like a glacier sliding through a city. Let me tell you what happened outside of Billings last week. A man named Curtis, former trucker, was part of a Recon unit scoping out supply routes. They passed a valley. Quiet. No sign of movement. And then, a ripple. That's the only way he could describe it. A shimmer in the air, like heat off asphalt, but horizontal, wide. It rolled over the ridge and down the slope. When it passed, every radio cut out, every flashlight died, even their watches stopped ticking. They got out. Fast. But when they went back the next morning, everything electronic was fried. The trees were fine. The grass still waved in the wind. But something had passed through that didn't care about trees, just us. Whatever they're using, it doesn't look like weapons, but it does the job. Now for those closer to the Great Lakes, we've picked up whisper signals out of Milwaukee. Someone's bouncing messages off the water. Morse, mostly. They're using buoys, yes, literal floating buoys, with solar repeaters hooked up to hand-cranked transmitters. Smart, low profile, and almost impossible to track, unless you know the timing. If you're near the lake and see a buoy with a red stripe, don't disturb it. It might be the only reason someone 300 miles away knows you're alive. A listener from Duluth sent in a page torn from a book. No letter, just the page. It's from something called The Quiet Earth. A science fiction novel, I think. One line was underlined in pencil. Maybe the stars don't talk back because they never expected us to call. Whoever you are, if you're listening now, I got your message. To anyone near the Gulf Coast, this part's for you. The weather's been changing. I'm not talking about normal storms. I mean wrong ones. Lightning that doesn't strike, just stays there, frozen across the sky. Thunder without clouds. Tides that rise too fast and too far. There are rumors of something rising off the coast near Galveston. Not a ship, a shape, metallic but jagged, like it was never meant to fly, like it grew instead of being built. Someone swears it hummed a tune, 3 notes, over and over. I don't know what it means. I just know more than one person's described the same thing. And when people across hundreds of miles start hearing the same song, you stop calling it coincidence. Let's talk about food. Not because it's cheerful, but because it's vital. The soils aren't behaving the way they should. Crops in some parts of the Midwest are refusing to sprout. Even with rain, even with good seed. Some farmers say the dirt feels different, colder. Others say they've pulled up roots that come out dry and hollow, like paper tubes. We think they've done something, changed the chemistry, maybe, or disrupted something deeper. But here's the twist. In other places, things are growing faster, too fast. Vines that spread 20 feet in a night. Mushrooms that glow faint blue under the stars. A tomato the size of a melon found in a garden that hadn't been tended in weeks. It's like something's rewriting the rules, but not evenly, not everywhere. My advice? Test everything. Boil it, cut it open. Let someone else try a bite before you feed it to your whole camp. I know that sounds cruel, but these days, caution is kindness. And one more thing before I take another break. There are voices in the static. No, I'm not losing it. Or maybe I am, but that's beside the point. Last night, I was scanning low band, just out of habit. And between the noise, between 2 pulses, I heard something. Not words, not in any language I know, but it had rhythm, cadence, like a sentence you almost understand. It faded fast, but when I played it back, slowed it down, it almost sounded curious. Not angry, not cruel, curious. I don't know if that's worse. This is Jordan Hale, still speaking from 99.3 FM. I'm here as long as the generator holds, as long as the cables stay dry, as long as my voice does what I ask it to. Keep listening. I'll keep talking. Because silence, that's how we lose each other. Back soon. I'm back. Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM, still holding the line from somewhere in the Dakotas. If you're just waking up or still listening in the dark, the time here is a little after 3 a.m. But time's funny now. Hard to know what matters anymore when the sun rises behind a filter you didn't ask for. The skies started flickering again. Not all at once, just in places, like loose wires sparking behind clouds. Some say it's electromagnetic. Some say it's communication. I don't think we've got the language to describe it yet. It's not weather. It's not a malfunction. It's presence. That's the best I can give you. Let's talk about the tunnels. Reports from Denver, Salt Lake, Boise, places with deep infrastructure, all tell the same story. Old transit routes are becoming unsafe. Not because they're collapsing, but because they're not empty. There are things down there now. Tall, too tall, silent. Their feet don't echo on the concrete. And when light hits them, it bends, like water warping around a rock. A team that went into a station near Ogden never came back. They'd marked their route, dropped chalk lines, set time-stamped audio pings. At 47 minutes in, their last ping changed frequency, shifted upward, thin and strained like it was being stretched. Then it just cut off. No screams, no crash, just nothing. We've lost a lot of good people to the idea that concrete equals safety. I'm not saying don't take shelter, but if you go underground, leave breadcrumbs. And don't trust echoes. They're not always yours. Moving on. If you're tuning in from Tennessee or the Carolinas, here's what we know. The Blue Ridge Corridor is holding, for the most part. Terrain's making it harder for them to move. Narrow passes, dense trees, natural choke points. Survivors in the Smokies have started reinforcing old ranger cabins and lookout towers, elevated positions, line of sight. It's smart, old school, but it works. One group's using mirrors, signal flashes during the day, candlelight codes at night. If you see 3 flashes, pause, then 2 more. That's them. Don't answer unless you know the response. They've had issues with false replies. Yeah, that's a thing now. People, survivors, reporting encounters with others who look human, sound human, until they get too close. And then it changes. One man told us he met a woman near a river crossing, waving him down. She looked scared, alone, said she'd lost her group and needed food. He offered her a can, and when she reached out, her hand passed through the top half of it. Not around, not beside, through. He ran, didn't stop till the next county. We've had 7 reports like that now. Not exactly the same, but close enough. People who don't seem fully here. Faces that flicker when the light shifts. Voices that lag behind the lips. I don't have a name for them. Not yet. But I know this. Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Let's shift gears for a second. A woman from Ontario, Marcia, sent in a journal entry. She said I could read it on air. Said maybe her words would help someone else feel less crazy. Here's what she wrote. Every morning I boil water, even if I don't drink it, just to hear the hiss, just to know something reacts to heat like it used to. The wind here has a pattern now. 3 short gusts, then 1 long, always before sunset. I think they're testing us, listening. I haven't seen another person in 8 days, but I still brush my hair. I still wear socks that match. I still keep the candles trimmed. Because if I stop doing those things, I think I'll disappear. Marcia, if you're listening, you haven't disappeared. I hear you. And to anyone else feeling the edges fray, do what you can to hold your thread. Even the smallest ritual matters. Make coffee, even if it's cold. Sing a line from a song you used to hate. Anything that reminds you you're still here. We got a blip from Alaska, Nome specifically. One of the outer monitoring posts picked up a signal bouncing from the sea. It wasn't strong, but it repeated. Same word, over and over, in English. Return. They don't know what it means. No context. Just that single word. Now, I'm not saying it's them. Could be anything. Could be a mistake. But why that word? Why not come or go or safe? Return. To what? If you're near Anchorage or farther out, Kodiak maybe, keep an ear open. That same pulse is starting to hit other stations now. Low, rhythmic, like sonar, but wider. More patient. Okay, let's get practical for a minute. You need a power tip? Here's one from a guy named Leon in Nebraska. He built what he calls a light cage. 4 old truck batteries, a small solar panel, and a bunch of old holiday lights wired through a metal frame. During the day, he charges the cage. At night, he powers it up around his camp perimeter. He says it keeps them out, or at least keeps them guessing. Now don't go wasting power if you don't have to, but if you've got spare wiring, LEDs, anything bright, try a pattern they can't predict. Light in motion. It's the static stuff they seem drawn to. Motion confuses them. Back to news. Canada's central corridor between Winnipeg and Thunder Bay is under blackout. No communications, no flare signals, just a gap on the map that keeps growing. A pilot tried to fly over last week. Said the air thickened. Not literally, but that's how he described it. Like flying through syrup. The engine struggled. The instruments wobbled. And then the sky changed. Got pale. Not white, but bleached. Like color had drained out of the atmosphere. He turned around before it got worse. He didn't sleep for 2 days after that. If you're near that region, stay grounded. Don't risk it. Something's changing in the air itself. Still no word from Cuba or much of the Caribbean. We're getting distorted pulses from the Atlantic. Radio waves bent back toward shore like they're bouncing off something just beyond the waterline. Ships that sailed out haven't returned. If you're planning to head for the coast, reconsider. The ocean isn't the refuge it used to be. Maybe it never was. Before I sign off for a short rest, I want to leave you with something small. A whisper from a listener near Boise. He said, "There are days I don't want to listen anymore. Days when the static feels heavier than the silence. But then I hear your voice, and I remember there's still someone else out there. You listening to me now? You're not just surviving. You're helping someone else hold on. And that's more than we ever thought we'd be capable of. I'll be back soon. Stay low. Stay lit. Stay human." This is Jordan Hale. You're listening to 99.3 FM, if you're still calling it that. Some folks out there have started naming the station other things. The Last Voice, The Wire, The Breather. I don't mind it. Whatever helps you hold on. The power's flickering again. It happens when the sky goes quiet. I've learned to feel it in my chest now. This deep hum, almost too low to hear, but it makes the walls tense. You ever feel your teeth ache for no reason? That's how it starts. If you're anywhere near Montana or the Northern Plains, this part's for you. A group out of Great Falls has been coordinating what they're calling pulse pockets. They've started identifying dead zones in the alien interference. Not just safe zones, but spots where the equipment seems to come back to life, even briefly. Radios, flashlights, old transistor boards. They think it has to do with topography, certain curves in the land that shield the electromagnetic interference, or maybe it's natural magnetism. I'm not a physicist. I'm just a guy with a microphone and a will to keep talking, but they've tested it, and it's working. If you're near the northern edge of the Missouri River, look for the red-painted rocks. They've marked them with an X and a number. Each one corresponds to a frequency you can use for short-distance comms. Keep transmissions brief. Avoid regular patterns. They're listening. We lost contact with a caravan out of Fargo. 8 vehicles. Mixed group. Nurses, supply runners, even a few kids. Their last known position was a checkpoint outside Jamestown. After that, the airwaves went blank. No trace, no engine noise, no distress call. We don't know what happened, but we know what might have. A boy on foot made it to a nearby outpost 2 days later. Said the group had stopped for a rest. That's all. No warning. 1 second they were there, and the next, like flipping a channel. The boy said the trees looked different afterward. Taller, tighter. Too close together, he said. Like they'd moved while we weren't looking. I don't have anything clever to say about that. Just be careful when you camp. Don't sleep in the same spot twice. And if you feel the wind shift in your sleep, get up, no matter what time it is. Let's talk about dreams. Lately, I've had messages from people all over the continent telling me they've started sharing dreams. Same ones. Doesn't matter if they're in Oregon or Quebec or down in Louisiana. The dreams start in quiet places, empty rooms, long hallways, fields without end. No sound, no sun, just an endless humming, like a string being plucked underwater. And always, at the edge of the dream, something watching, not chasing, not threatening, just observing, like a camera with breath. In some dreams, the figure speaks. No words, just impressions, warmth, distance, curiosity, maybe even regret. Now I know what you might be thinking. Dreams are just stress, shared hallucinations, group psychology. Could be. We've all seen the same sky, the same lights. Our brains could be making sense of the madness any way they can. But what if they're not dreams? What if that's how they talk? Not through signals, not through voice, through sleep. If you've had one of these dreams, write it down. Don't trust your memory. They fade fast. And if you've had more than one, maybe they're trying to tell you something. We've got new reports from the Midwest, Missouri mostly. A community in the Ozarks has set up what they're calling a sound curtain. They've installed arrays of metal wind chimes, bells, and old vinyl records set on strings to rattle in the breeze. Not music, just noise. Irregular, discordant, unpredictable. And it's working. One of the residents says the ships won't cross it, not directly. They hover outside the perimeter, wait, then move on. They think the irregularity makes it hard to track, or map, or whatever they do when they scan terrain. If you're in a wooded area, this might be worth trying. Keep the sounds organic, keep them moving. It might buy you a few extra minutes if things go bad. To those in cities, I know it feels impossible. Most of the major urban centers are compromised now, not just overrun, but reshaped. What used to be Baltimore is barely recognizable. Whole blocks have been flattened, not destroyed, just erased. Roads that don't lead anywhere. Buildings with no doors. Windows that show the sky on both sides, like someone started rebuilding the city from memory and got it wrong. And the strangest part? It's quiet. No bodies, no chaos, just the hum. I don't know if they're terraforming, testing, or just playing with us, but if you're near any major city and you start seeing the layout change, leave immediately. Out west, Nevada's gone silent again. The desert has this way of swallowing sound, and when something unnatural moves across it, you can feel the silence stretch. Survivors out of Tonopah say they've seen glows beneath the sand. Not fire, not electricity. Something colder. Like the stars fell through the crust and never made it out the other side. I know this sounds unreal, but we're way past unreal, aren't we? Back in January, if someone told you ships would hover over the White House and do nothing, just stare for 23 straight minutes, you'd call them insane. But that happened. We saw it. Millions did. And then they left. Didn't fire a shot. Didn't issue a command. Just hovered, watched, waited, and then left. You tell me what that means. A man named Tobias wrote in from Michigan, said he's stopped running, says he's staying in his barn until it all ends. I won't read everything he wrote, it's personal, but one line stuck with me. We kept looking for reasons, but maybe there aren't any. Maybe we were just next. I don't know if he's right. I hope he's wrong, but I understand the feeling. If you're listening, Tobias, don't go quiet yet. Even if the answers never come, even if none of us make it to whatever this is building toward, Your voice still matters. They haven't taken that from us. Not yet. This is Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM. I'm still here, and as long as my breath holds, you will hear me. This is Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM. If you've still got power, still got batteries, still got an ear pressed close to the speaker, then I'm still here with you. It's just after 4 in the morning. Not that time matters much anymore, but I like to mark it anyway. The night's quiet again. That strange kind of quiet where even the wind feels like it's hiding. If you're out there in the northern stretch of New York State, north of Albany, but before you hit the Canadian border, we've picked up irregular flashes on the radar, bouncing low across the Adirondacks. They're not constant, not coordinated. It's like someone's testing short pulses through the tree cover. What we don't know is if it's ours or theirs. But here's what's strange. Every time a pulse flashes through, animals go still. We've heard from 5 different groups up there: hunters, campers, an old survivalist network, and all say the same thing. No birds, no bugs, no movement. Just silence, like nature's holding its breath. So if you're in that region and suddenly everything goes still, I want you to do the same. Find cover. Don't make sound. Don't shine a light. Wait. We don't know what they're scanning for, but it's not random. There are rumors that some of the old broadcast towers are being repurposed. Not by us. They're lighting up in patterns, exactly 7 seconds on, 2 seconds off, then a 10-second silence, then repeat. All on old AM bands we haven't used in decades. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. Maybe they're hijacking our tech. Maybe they're learning how to speak. Or maybe they're just playing with us, testing the waters before they flood the shore. But if you hear that pattern, don't respond. Not on the same band. Not on any band. The last person who tried? She was gone within a day. Her camp still had heat on. Coffee on the stove. No signs of a struggle. Just gone. To the people holed up near Salt Lake, we heard you. Your Morse code message came through. Choppy, but clear enough. You're calling yourselves the Cradle. I like that. Something about the word feels warm, protective. You said you've got 6 families, 1 doctor, and a makeshift greenhouse built out of school bus windows. I don't know how you pulled that off, but it's genius. The heat retention alone probably keeps your interior temps survivable through the nights. You also mentioned that one of your group claims to have seen a transmission. Not heard, seen. She said it looked like a band of light moving through the air like a ribbon, only visible at a certain angle. Said it passed through her camp like a searchlight, but didn't light up a thing. Not the ground. Not her tent. Nothing. But afterward, her radio signal was 3 times stronger for 2 days. Then it cut out again. So if there's some kind of visual wave, some invisible scan sweeping the land, maybe we've been focusing on the wrong senses. Maybe they're not just listening. Maybe they're watching for watchers. Let me take a second to talk about the power grid, or what's left of it. Most major grids are down, but there are scattered microstations still holding. A few university labs, old hydro setups in Oregon, one stubborn wind farm in Wisconsin that keeps feeding juice to a nearby relay station. They're not strong enough to restore normal life, but they're strong enough to make noise. And noise right now is dangerous. If you've got electricity, shield it. Keep your wires grounded. Wrap your generators in lead or aluminum, if you have it. Don't emit heat without masking it. They're tracking signatures now. Power surges, resonance patterns, anything that doesn't look like the wind. If it flickers, they'll find it. Word from British Columbia. There's a stretch of coastline west of Nanaimo that's being referred to as the Line. Not because of the water, but because there's a band, no more than 100 feet wide, where nothing technological works. Radios cut out, watches stop. Even solar chargers lose their ability to hold a current. It's not permanent, but it's recurring. Every 36 hours, give or take. A wall of silence rolls in like a fog and stays for about 10 minutes before lifting. We don't know what it is, but we do know that the ships never cross it. People have started moving their shelters inside that zone, building small, primitive cabins with no wiring, no heat signatures. It's cold, isolated, but safer maybe. So if you're nearby, maybe that's worth a look. Down in the south, Georgia's become strange. The heat there plays tricks, but this isn't just heat haze. A group near Macon reported seeing duplicate vehicles. Duplicates, like mirrors driving in opposite directions. Same truck, same color, same scratches, except one didn't leave tire tracks. They say the wrong one disappeared when it passed beneath a tree. No flash, no sound, just gone. It's happening in other places now too. Brief duplications, people claiming to see themselves, or their loved ones, out of sync, wrong shoes, wrong voice, too still. We don't know what it means, but we think someone, or something, is trying to learn what we are by wearing what we've been. So if you see something familiar, stop, watch, don't engage. The moment you feel something off, that's your answer. Turn around. A signal from somewhere near Colorado Springs included an audio file. We almost didn't play it. Too distorted, too warped. But we ran it through a filter and got something unusual. A melody. Just 3 notes. Repeating. But layered underneath was a pulse. A steady rhythm, like breath through a broken machine, or a heart slowed down too far. The same pulse has been picked up now in Virginia, Manitoba, and coastal Maine. What does that mean? Maybe they're linked? Maybe it's one thing moving, or many connected by sound. Or maybe it's a countdown. I don't say that to scare you. I say it because this isn't random anymore. There's a method to the silence, a shape behind the static. I'm going to switch off for a little while, save power, rest the circuits. But before I go, I want to leave you with a message. I got scratched onto a metal plate from someone up north. If they didn't want us to hear each other, they wouldn't keep trying to drown us out. We're still here, and that's enough for now. This is Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM. You're not alone. You're still with me. This is Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM. The generator kicked back on about 20 minutes ago after that last pulse knocked it out. It happens more often now, like the air's breathing against the metal, slowing everything down just enough to make you notice. You ever feel that? Like the world's heartbeat stutters for half a second, and when it catches again, you know something changed. Even if nothing looks different, that's been happening more. I want to read something to you. This came in from a handwritten log found near the edge of Lake Michigan, stashed inside a coffee can wrapped in plastic. No name, no date. Just this. I heard a knock at the door last night. 3 taps, then silence. No footsteps, no voice. Just that. But it wasn't the knocking that got me. It was the pause before the third one. Like it wasn't sure how many times we're supposed to knock. Like it was remembering. Whoever left that note, I hear you. You're not crazy. Others have reported the same thing, patterns that feel almost human, but not quite. There's a kind of hesitation in these things, not clumsy, just unfamiliar, like a tourist trying to pass for local. If something knocks, and it feels like it's practicing being a person, don't answer. To the people out in Kansas still using their grain silos as relays, keep doing what you're doing. Your signal made it to us all the way up here in the Dakotas. You're bouncing off the stratosphere just right. One of your messages mentioned the glow. You said it's been following your community since the last storm. No ship, no sound, just a faint amber light, hovering maybe 200 feet up, never moving more than a mile away. It doesn't scan, doesn't beam, doesn't shift. It just lingers. Some of your people think it's protecting you. Some think it's watching you. One person said it feels like waiting. We don't know what the glow is, but if it hasn't hurt you yet, maybe don't challenge it. I want to talk about something I've avoided for a while. The kids. A lot of you out there are still protecting your children, or trying to. Some of them have started hearing things we don't. Not just voices in the dark or nightmares. That's normal in times like this. I mean tones, frequencies, low, slow waves that pulse through their bones. You know how dogs hear whistles we can't? It's like that. They cover their ears. They cry in rhythms. Some have started mimicking those tones in their sleep. We had a report from Alberta about a boy who began drawing symbols in his food. Same one every time. An arc above a circle, with lines trailing out like legs. He says it's the thing in the sky. His family never saw it, but the symbol matches carvings found in a mining town south of there, etched into steel with something too sharp for any tool they had. The kids are picking up something. And whatever it is, it's getting stronger. To parents, hold them close. Keep them calm. Don't let them fixate. And if they start humming, soft, low, like a lullaby you don't recognize, record it. Save it. We're starting to collect samples. They're nearly identical, and we don't know why. It could be language, or warning. There's been a shift in the southern territories. From Arizona through northern Mexico, the ground's been vibrating, not shaking, just pulsing, rhythmic, steady, like breath or footsteps, or a heartbeat beneath the dust. Seismographs don't register it, but animals are reacting. Coyotes won't howl. Cattle won't graze. Birds won't land. And some people have started hearing whispers, barely audible phrases, always just outside of range. One woman wrote in to say it sounded like her own voice, telling her to come down. She didn't go. Smart. If anyone tells you to come down, don't. You don't know what they mean by down. Here's a fragment from a voice message we got 2 nights ago, relayed by hand. They're not hunting. They're farming. We're the seeds. I don't know what to do with that yet, but I keep thinking about it. About how methodical this all seems. About how little damage they've done, compared to how much they could have done. If this was war, we'd be ash by now. So what is it? Reclamation? Study? Preparation? If you've got answers, I'm listening. A community up near Whitehorse reported something strange. They say the stars shifted, not all at once, just a few. One night, Polaris, North Star, was in the wrong place, only by a little, just a degree or two. But for the people who measure, who track, who trust the sky like an old friend, it was enough. And the next night, it was back. Didn't move, just snapped back into place. You tell me what that means. Maybe the sky is broken. Or maybe someone else is drawing the map now. I'll end this hour with something personal. Last night, I stepped outside the station for air. Just a few minutes. The clouds were low, the trees still, and I looked up. There was nothing there. No ships, no lights, just clouds. But I felt it. This weight, this silence pressing against the sides of my head like I was underwater. And in that moment, I knew. We are not alone. We never were. But now they know we know. And they don't care. That's what's changed. This is Jordan Hale. I'll be back soon. Keep your lights low, your voices quiet, and your memory sharp. You're back with Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM. If the signal's rough tonight, that's not your radio. It's the air. We've been getting some kind of interference in the last hour. Slow, crawling static that pulses like a wave coming in too close to shore. Every time it rolls over, the boards in the station hum. You ever hear wood vibrate? It's like the building's remembering how to breathe. If you're anywhere between Winnipeg and the Dakotas, you may have felt it too. Some are calling it a pressure wave. Others think it's something passing through just beneath us. Not a quake, not sound, just pressure. A reminder we're not the only ones still moving. To the small cluster near Minneapolis, yes, we received your flare signal. Still can't reach you on the standard bands, but that blue pulse you sent out made it through the sky. We saw it. Keep broadcasting every 12 hours. If you can hear me, tap into the frequency I'm using now and listen for a triple click. If you hear it, you're not alone. I want to talk about memory. There's a pattern we've noticed. People forget things now. Little things, not just where they placed a flashlight or the name of an old neighbor. Bigger things, where they lived, who they were with, what year it is. A man from Oregon, Arthur, said he forgot his wife's voice. Not just the sound, but the idea of it. She's alive, still with him. But when she speaks, he says it feels like hearing someone talk through a wall, like a voice he was supposed to know, but didn't. Other survivors write in saying they wake up in shelters they remember building, but don't remember why. Or they find maps they drew with their own handwriting, with towns they don't recall passing through. It's not just stress, it's not just trauma. Something's pulling at the thread, and we think the ships might be involved. Every time one passes overhead, even from miles off, we see the same effect. People getting headaches, nausea, sudden drops in temperature around their bodies. But the worst part? They forget where they were when it happened. 5 minutes gone. 10. An hour. It's not just us watching them anymore. They're looking inside now. If this happens to you, mark the time, keep a log, use a pencil. Digital watches have been freezing mid-second, and phones don't hold memory anymore the way they should. It's like tech forgets too. One woman wrote in from the outskirts of Boise. She said her dog began barking at the mirror. Not just once, every night, same time. 3 minutes before the pulse came. And then, quiet. Until one night, she looked too, and the reflection blinked first. Don't ask me what that means. I don't know anymore. Back in Texas, there's a small town that's gone completely dark. No name, no reports, no survivors. But the weird thing? It's still lit up on satellite Recon. Roads, streetlights, even signs of movement, but no one's heard from them. It's like a recording of a town, still playing. So if you're traveling and come across a place that feels too normal, too bright, too familiar, stop, wait, look for inconsistencies, a moving flag with no wind, a grocery shelf with perfect labels, dogs that don't bark. If something seems untouched, it might be a trap. And speaking of traps, new intel from Montana suggests they've started mimicking our emergency beacons. A survivor named Devin was following a distress signal. Short burst, repeated every 7 seconds, consistent with older FEMA coding. He followed it for 3 hours. When he reached the source, there was no equipment, no shelter, just a hole in the ground, and a warmth in the air, like an open mouth breathing out. He backed away. The signal kept playing. That was 2 nights ago. It's still playing now. We're tracking these ghost signals. If you're running analog radios, watch for codes you don't recognize, especially if they sound too perfect. Static isn't supposed to sound smooth. It's not supposed to sing. Now, let's talk about mirrors. I don't like to say things that sound superstitious. You all know I've tried to keep this grounded. Give you the facts, the updates, the warnings. But this one keeps coming up, and I'd be lying if I didn't bring it to you. People are covering mirrors, not just in bedrooms or bathrooms, but car-side mirrors, broken glass, anything with a reflection, because some have reported that their mirrors are changing, not showing the wrong face, not like movies, more subtle, like showing a second too late, or a detail out of place, a shirt you didn't wear, a bruise you don't remember getting. One family near Rochester said they caught their reflection moving after they stopped. They covered every reflective surface in their shelter that night. Said the silence afterward was the loudest they'd ever heard. I don't know what to tell you about that, but if you've noticed mirrors acting strange, trust your eyes. You're not imagining it. Something is watching back. Last thing for this hour. Something softer. A boy named Eli wrote to us, scribbled on the back of an old cereal box. Said he's 13, staying with his aunt in Colorado. He said every night before bed, he pretends to read a storybook he doesn't have anymore. Said he recites it from memory. Just a made-up tale about stars that fall and land in lakes and become fish. He said he does it because his little cousin still believes stories can keep monsters away. Eli, if you're hearing this, they can. Keep telling those stories. Because whatever this invasion is, whatever's watching from behind our clouds and through our glass and under our feet, they still don't understand one thing. We remember. Even when we forget details, even when the names blur, we remember each other. That's our weapon. That's what they don't have. Memory tied to love, to loss, to each other. So keep writing, keep drawing, keep telling stories in the dark, because the dark doesn't get the final word. This is Jordan Hale signing off for now. 99.3 FM holding the line. You're still listening. I can feel it. That ripple, like heat through copper wire, right before a voice comes through. This is Jordan Hale, still broadcasting on 99.3 FM. We're past 5 in the morning now. Dawn's close, but it's not the kind of dawn you used to know. The light doesn't come like it used to. It sort of leaks in, gray, then green, then that weird silver haze that makes everything feel like you're stuck inside a dream that hasn't decided if it's a nightmare yet. I've got more for you. We've picked up new movement patterns along the Appalachian spine, West Virginia down into northern Georgia. Multiple groups have reported structures appearing overnight. Not tents, not camps, not even tech, really. More like shapes. One described them as pillars made of glass that's always wet, even when it hasn't rained. Another said it looked like wind chimes if the wind chimes were 12 feet tall and hummed without moving. No one saw them arrive. They just were. The next morning. They don't do anything. Not yet. But the temperature drops near them. People feel lightheaded. Some report missing time, seconds, minutes. A girl near Asheville said she stood next to one for only a few breaths, and when she turned around, the sun was in a different place in the sky. No explanation. To anyone near one of these pillars, mark its location and leave it alone. Do not touch it. Do not shine light directly on it. And don't let children near it. We still don't know what they're for. Up near the Canadian border, a man who identified himself only as Old Joe called in using a crank rigged to a copper pipe tower. Said he's been alone since his wife passed in the first wave. Said he's heard them walking at night. Not the ships, the others. He says they don't walk like people. Said it's the rhythm that gives them away. Off time. One foot always landing just a little late, like a marching band made of echoes. But he says he can hear them circling the tree line. Never closer, never farther. Just watching. He asked me to pass along something to anyone who might be hearing this. If they don't come in, it's not because they can't. It's because they haven't decided to. Make of that what you will. To those still operating boats on the Great Lakes, listen closely. A new pattern's emerged, a thin line of fog that traces behind the vessels, not thick, not storm-born, just a veil that rises and holds even when there's no humidity. We're calling it Ghost Wake. One crew reported that the fog had no scent, no taste. But when they cut the engine and sat in it, the compass reversed. The north marker spun south and stayed there until they moved out of the mist. Others have said their clocks ran backward for a full minute. We're not joking. We've confirmed this with 4 different crews using 3 different kinds of timekeeping. Analog, digital, atomic. Whatever's in that fog, it's playing with direction or rewriting it. Stay out of it. Or if you have to pass through, mark your location before you enter. And pray it's the same place when you come out. We've had requests from listeners asking if there's been any word from Europe or South America or beyond. Truth is, no, not directly. But last night, just before 3 a.m, something came through the static. Not a signal, an image, and I know how that sounds. But I saw it, just a flicker, like light off metal. Like an outline of a skyline I didn't recognize. Towering, bent at angles no human city builds in. Then gone. I don't know if it came from the other side of the world or from somewhere else entirely. What I do know is that something out there is learning how to speak, or learning how we listen. We've been monitoring a repeating drone that started echoing through the low bands yesterday. It's not constant, more like a breath held too long, then released with a hum. Some techs think it's language. One even believes it's testing tone, like when someone knocks on a wall to see how thick it is. They're tapping, listening for what gives. I want to take a second to talk about the resistance cells that are starting to form. They're quiet, scattered, careful, but they're real. A group out of Utah has begun training old truckers and miners in silent movement, teaching them how to use vibration instead of radios, stomping codes into the ground, using buried cables and tuned rods to feel messages rather than hear them. We used to think our strength was in the sky, in broadcast towers and satellites. Now we're learning. Our strength is in the dirt, in what can't be hacked. There's a woman outside Sacramento who's using old VHS static to send pulse codes, rerouted through coax lines buried under her barn. Every night she sends a single message, broken into analog pulses. We remember the sky. That's it. No call for help, no location, just the same phrase, again and again. I don't know why that one hits so hard. Maybe it's because it sounds like something we all forgot we needed to say. And to the people in the flooded zones, yes, I'm hearing you. The sea's not just rising anymore. It's moving in new ways. Some have seen reflections in waves where there shouldn't be. Whole cities mirrored in the crests. But wrong, warped, like another version of the world just beneath the surface. One diver near Halifax swears he saw buildings on the ocean floor that shouldn't be there. Old, but not ruined. Like they'd been put there recently. Like they were meant to be found by people looking in the wrong direction. If you're near the coast, keep your eyes off the water at night. It's starting to look back. This is Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM, still here, still speaking. If your voice feels small right now, that's okay. Small voices are still voices, and sometimes they're the only ones the dark can't quiet. I'll be back. This is Jordan Hale. If you can hear me, you're tuned to 99.3 FM. Somewhere, some way, you're still with us. That's enough. The signal's drifting again. The static tonight isn't sharp. It's soft, like fabric tearing slowly instead of a quick rip. It's the kind of static that doesn't hurt your ears, but creeps under your skin. I've come to know the difference, and I think you have too. Reports are still coming in from scattered regions across the Midwest and Lower Ontario. What used to be silence is starting to feel watched. Some towns that were untouched for weeks are now seeing movement, not overt, not the ships overhead, but shadows, walkers, things without rhythm. They stand still until they think you're not watching, and then they move again. One man in Iowa called them the lingerers, says he sees them through his window, never closer than the fence, always at the edge, never blinking, not once. They don't knock, they don't run, they wait. And here's the strange part. He said they showed up the night after he fixed his radio antenna. The moment his signal reached someone else, they came. That's not coincidence. That's cause and effect. It makes you wonder if they aren't the only ones listening. Maybe there's something else out there, drawn to the fact that we're still trying to be human. Let me read something I received last night. Scrawled on notebook paper, folded into a bandage tin, dropped off by a courier passing through Nebraska. They haven't spoken, not in any tongue we understand, but they hum, and if you hum back, something inside you hums with them, not in your ears, in your bones. We're seeing more and more of this. These low vibrations, these tones, traveling through bodies instead of air. It's communication, but not with the mind. It's with matter, with cells. And we don't know what it's saying. I'm not telling you to hum back. I'm telling you not to. Not yet. Not until we understand what it might mean. Until we know if it's a question or a command. To the camps in Arkansas and Oklahoma, your trails are marked and noted. The reflective cloth system you're using is working. That's confirmation from 4 other parties. It's primitive, but it's genius. Just strips of aluminum foil and mirrored tape tied to branches. Spaced apart, they flash in sequence when hit by flashlight from the right angle. Anyone moving through those woods at night can find you if they know what to look for. Keep using it. Just remember, if we can read it, they might too. A group from Nashville reported a strange sight on the horizon. Not a ship, not a shadow, a tower, metal maybe, but no known design. Thin as scaffolding, but rising straight into the cloud deck. No ladder, no platform, no function. It wasn't there the day before. And when they returned 2 days later, it was gone. No wreckage, no foundation, just crushed grass where something heavy had stood. If these things are building, then we're not just being studied anymore. We're being replaced. I want to shift gears for a moment. There's a woman named Sophia, writing from the Vermont woods. She says her group has taken to leaving handwritten stories for each other. Not instructions, not survival tips, just memories. The smell of a warm kitchen, a dog barking from a porch, a song they used to hear through paper-thin walls on Sunday mornings. They bury them in jars, wrap them in wax paper, hide them under tree roots. She says it keeps them sane, and I believe her. Sometimes surviving isn't about rations or shelter or clever defenses. It's about remembering who we were, so whatever we become still has shape. If you're out there and you've got a scrap of paper, write something down. A memory, a name, a favorite meal. The last thing someone said to you before the world tilted. Seal it in plastic, hide it under a rock, somewhere safe, because one day someone might find it. And that might be the first moment they feel real again. We've also had an increase in what we're calling time loops, people reporting déjà vu, not the regular kind, not the "have I been here before?" kind. More like, I was here. This already happened, and not yesterday, but minutes ago. A man in Missouri said he walked to his neighbor's barn to borrow a lantern like he'd done 100 times before. But when he got there, the lantern was already on the table, lit, still warm, and his own footprints were already in the dirt. He swears he never took that walk before. Not in this version of the night. This is happening more often, especially near the zones with heavy electromagnetic distortion. It's not hallucination. It's something bending reality just slightly, like someone trying to fold time without creasing it. Are they testing memory? Testing causality? Or are we slipping into something they built without knowing? Whatever the case, if time feels loose, anchor yourself. Write the day. Speak your name. Tell someone beside you what just happened, even if they already know. Keep your timeline tied down before someone else edits it. And here's something else. A pilot from Montana, one of the last licensed bush pilots still running short-distance runs, flew over what used to be a small town near the Idaho border. Said it was gone, not destroyed, not burned, just missing. And in its place was a circle of scorched land, perfect in shape, as if someone cut out the town and laid a shadow down in its place, a kind of absence that has weight. He said his plane dipped, just slightly, when it passed overhead, like the air didn't know how to hold itself together above the hole. He didn't fly that way again. None of us would. Last note for this hour. It's from a woman named Rena in Minnesota. She lost her father early on. Said she used to sit with him on the porch during summer storms and count the seconds between the flash and the thunder. She said now she does the same thing with the pulses in the sky. She said the distance between them is shrinking. Hold on to that thought. Not because it's comforting, but because it means something is coming closer. This is Jordan Hale, and I'm still here. You're listening to Jordan Hale, still here, still breathing, still holding station 99.3 FM together with copper wire, duct tape, and the stubborn will of people who refuse to go quiet. I want to talk to you about stillness. We're conditioned to think quiet is safety, that silence means you've gone unnoticed. But lately, that rule's been breaking. Reports are coming in from across the upper Midwest, Minnesota, the Dakotas, even parts of Wisconsin, about zones of perfect silence. Not just the absence of sound. I mean nothing. No wind, no buzz of insects, no creaking of trees or whisper of boots in gravel. People walking through these zones describe it as stepping into a vacuum. You don't even hear your own breath. Not in your ears, not in your chest. Like the air forgot how to carry sound. Some people stay, think it's safe. It isn't. 2 scouts from a rail team in Duluth entered one such zone near a frozen lake bed. They didn't come back. Their footprints led in, but none came out. And then, hours later, the sound returned. Not gradually, not fading in, just snapped back, mid-wind, as if someone hit unpause on the world. If you're out there and the world suddenly goes still, move. Don't trust that quiet. Get out of that place and don't look back. We've also got something new. Sky glyphs. A community near the Montana-Wyoming border reported geometric formations appearing in cloud banks. Thin lines, too precise to be natural. Triangles, spirals, lattice grids stretched like circuitry across the sky. They don't last long. 10 seconds, maybe 20. Then they melt back into fog like a drawing being erased. No light, no sound. But after each one appears, people nearby report confusion, nausea, sudden panic attacks. Some lose memory of what they were doing moments before. We think it's a transmission, but not one meant for us. Maybe it's a signal to each other. Maybe it's mapping data. Or maybe we're just seeing the bleed off of something bigger than we can hold in our heads. Whatever it is, don't stare too long. Look, note it, then look away. Someone wrote me from Idaho, said their group's begun using stones to talk. Literal stones, arranged in patterns, left on hillsides and beside rivers, circles for safe, arrows for supplies, stacked towers for stay away. It's not new. Humans have done that for thousands of years. But now? Now it's the only language some of us trust not to be intercepted. No static, no back doors, just rock, weight, and gravity. And I'll tell you something strange. Someone, or something, is answering. A scout left a spiral of stones in an open field last week. She came back the next day. The spiral had been copied. Further out, in the same field, but made from bones, not human, not animal either. No one's gone near the field since. Let me take you up north for a second. Near Yellowknife, a fisherman picked up a low-frequency rumble in the ice shelf, said it sounded like singing, but not voices, more like engines tuned to a melody. He drilled down, thinking it was thermal cracking, but what he found was stranger. The water glowed. Not bright, not radioactive. Just this pale, steady shimmer pulsing beneath the surface, like the whole lake had become an eye waiting to blink. He left, marked the spot, but the next morning, the hole had frozen solid, faster than it should have, and the shimmer was gone. To anyone working near the northern lakes, be careful. Something's stirring beneath the ice. Something old. To the woman who sent the cassette from Missoula, thank you. You said your group listens every night, even if the signal's buried in white noise. You said your youngest thinks the radio is like a ghost, that I'm someone who died, but keeps talking because no one told me to stop. I laughed at that. A real laugh. First one I've had in days. Maybe that kid's not wrong. Maybe we're all ghosts now. Just not the kind that gave up. I want to speak now to the people who still carry maps. If your routes are changing, you're not wrong. Several major land features have shifted. I don't mean tectonics. I mean roads that don't match their own asphalt, rivers that no longer bend where they used to, fields that seem wider, flatter, stretched out like someone grabbed the edges and pulled. We had a ranger team go out from Boise. Old hands, knew the backcountry better than they knew their own birthdays. They followed a trail they'd taken hundreds of times, one that should have ended near an abandoned fire tower. But it didn't. It ended in water, a lake that wasn't supposed to be there. No name, no wildlife, no sound, still as glass. They turned back. Smart move. That trail doesn't exist anymore. And it's not the only one. Something's moving the shape of the world, like a cartographer with a grudge. Out east, a group just outside Pittsburgh reported voices in steel. This is real. We've confirmed it now 3 times. People are hearing faint whispers coming from abandoned structures, not through radios, through metal, bridges, water towers, rusted fences. If you put your ear to the steel at the right moment, you'll hear it. Not in English, not any language we know, but deliberate, like someone talking through a hallway that stretches across a continent. Maybe the old bones of our cities are being used as antennae. Maybe they're not even ours anymore. Now, I've got one more thing before I let the relay cool down. It's a message from a girl named Malia. She's 15, somewhere near Flagstaff. She wrote on the back of an old music theory workbook, said she used to play cello, said she hasn't heard music in months, only the sky. She wrote, I still remember the feeling of strings under my fingers. I play in my head when it gets too quiet. I think if I imagine hard enough, they'll hear it. Not the bad ones, the others, the ones who haven't forgotten how to feel. Malia, if you're out there, I hear you. Keep playing, even if it's only in your head. You never know who's listening. And to the rest of you, don't stop making noise. The kind of noise that reminds you you're alive. Not panic, not fear, just life. A laugh, a footstep, a breath held too long and finally let go. This is Jordan Hale, and this is still 99.3 FM. I'll be back after the silence fades. It's Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM, the quiet hour just before sunrise. I think about time differently now. Used to be we measured it in hours, in schedules, in countdowns to some new launch or holiday sale, or Monday morning traffic. Now we measure it in pulses, in tremors, in how long the lights stay off, in how long you can go without hearing that low hum return. I just had one of those moments. You know the ones, where you stop mid-sentence, and for a second, it feels like the whole world leaned in closer. Not to listen, just to be there. A pressure, like standing in a deep canyon and knowing something's awake at the bottom. So if I pause tonight, if my voice cracks or trails off, just wait. I'll come back. I always do. News out of New England, a survivor unit in northern Vermont, mostly old Forest Service rangers and 2 younger families, has gone dark. We got a transmission from them a few nights ago. Said they'd started noticing duplicates in their group. People with the same voice, same face, same mannerisms. Just small things off. One smiled too often. One didn't blink enough. One forgot the name of a dog he'd raised from a pup. So they held a vote. Decided to isolate the doubles. 1 in each cabin. No harm. Just separate until they figured it out. The next morning, everyone was gone. Cabins intact, fires still warm, radios silent, and in the main hall, 3 chairs turned toward the door, perfectly lined up. No footprints, no blood, no damage, just the chairs and the dog, the real one, we think. He won't leave the hall. Make of that what you will. Reports out of Northern California say the redwoods are glowing again, but not like before. This time it's from the inside. The trunks are pulsing with faint green light only visible at night. It travels like a heartbeat, one tree to the next to the next. It's not artificial, not tech, and it's not us. Botanists, those who remain, say it's impossible, that no natural organism can carry light like that through living wood. But the trees don't seem to care what's possible. They just do it. And it's spreading. Oregon's already seen similar pulses in its deeper forests. Washington, too. The oldest trees are humming, and we're starting to think they're responding to something. Maybe they always have. Let's talk about dreams again. I've been asking you to send them in, and you have. Hundreds of fragments. Some hopeful. Most not. But here's the common thread. You're dreaming of places you've never been, cities that don't exist, streets with no names, buildings shaped wrong, skies that curve inward. And then, just before waking, you feel something watching you from above. Not flying, not hovering, just waiting. It's not a nightmare. It's not fear. It's recognition. Like something finally noticed you. One listener from Ontario said in her dream she was walking through a city made of black stone with rivers of static running between the buildings. Every time she stepped over one, she forgot a memory. A real one. First her school, then her brother, then her name. And just before she woke up, she heard a voice, her own voice, whisper, "Now they know how to open you." Yeah, that's the kind of thing that stays with you. So if you're dreaming more than usual, start writing it down. Keep a log. Compare with others. They might not be just dreams anymore. We got a package from down south, Tennessee, I think, wrapped in wax paper. No note, just a map. Hand-drawn, rough, charcoal lines, marked in red, 5 locations, each one labeled with a single word. Pulse, bloom, mirror, hollow, return. None of those places exist on any current map, but one matches the location of a flare we tracked last week. We're calling them event points. We don't know what they do, but people who pass through those areas all report the same thing, feeling watched after they left, not during, not in the moment. After. It's like walking through a memory that didn't belong to you, and only realizing it later. We've heard from a small group of engineers outside Detroit. They've taken up in an old industrial park, trying to rebuild analog tech, radios, typewriters, crank tools, anything that doesn't require a microchip. They call it the Quiet Forge. They said something smart. If they broke our tools, we go back to the ones they can't touch. They've built short-range transmitters using copper and quartz, hand-spun generators, even a type of mechanical printer using parts from sewing machines. So if you're in the area and know how to wire by hand, how to solder or crank or press, head that way. They're teaching others. They're growing. And more importantly, they're staying hidden, because digital glows. Analog survives. One more update before I cycle the relay. New Mexico's high plains have started whispering again. A pattern we thought stopped months ago has come back. Only at night. Only when the wind moves east. Only when the stars are visible. You lie still, absolutely still, and you can hear it in the sand. A phrase, not in a human voice, but shaped like one. No one's agreed on what it says yet, but most hear something close to. You were louder than we expected. I don't know if that's a warning or a compliment. Maybe both. This is Jordan Hale. Still speaking, still listening, still here. And if you are too, then the story's not done. Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM, still on the wire, still broadcasting. If you're hearing this, even faint, even buried beneath static, then you've already done the hard part. You stayed alive. You stayed alert. You kept your receiver on, even when the night begged you to switch it off. There's a story I want to share with you. Came in from Montana. Man named Ellis. Mid-60s, ex-radio tech from way back. He's been living alone in an old ranger outpost since last fall. Said something started happening about 3 weeks ago. Something he couldn't explain. The stars began shifting. Not all at once, but one by one. A slow drift. Orion's belt nudging westward, the Big Dipper stretching like a photograph in water. And then, for just one night, a new star appeared. Large, steady, right where Polaris should have been. He watched it with binoculars. Said it didn't blink, didn't pulse. Just watched back. The next night, Polaris was there again. The new one was gone. He's not the only one to report this. Something is moving above us. Something with purpose. Something that knows our sky better than we do. And maybe before we did. We've picked up whispers from northern Maine, small farming collectives still holding together under thermal blankets and makeshift crop domes. One of them, run by a woman named Letty, has been experimenting with sound disruption. Not for communication, for defense. They've built what she calls scramblers, not weapons, just analog devices that broadcast random noise at low volume. Metal screws and tumblers, glass beads rolling over steel sheets, wind-powered tone wheels from old music boxes. It's irregular, unpatterned, and according to her, the ships won't pass overhead when they're running. She thinks it's not the volume, it's the confusion. That maybe the ships, or the things that guide them, don't like what they can't predict. It's a theory. But so far, her farm's still standing. If you've got scrap metal, beads, strings, old toys, try it. Make a wall of nonsense. Sometimes the best defense is gibberish. Back in the Rockies, there's been another kind of signal, one that doesn't use sound at all. Hikers near the ruins of Estes Park have reported seeing flashes in their vision. Not in the sky, not with lights. Inside their own heads, shapes, numbers, images that don't linger, like a memory you didn't earn. Some have described it as a kind of forced dream, a fast download you didn't ask for, filling your skull with things that don't belong to you. One man saw blue corridors stretching into infinity. A woman saw a machine made of mirrors, reflecting nothing. A child saw herself sleeping. From the outside, we don't know what it means. Could be scans. Could be tests. Could be something trying to interface without asking first. If it happens to you, if you feel your thoughts stretch too far, ground yourself. Speak out loud. Say your name. Say the day. Eat something if you can. Drink. Touch something solid and real. Remind the world that you're here. Because whatever's brushing against us isn't. I want to touch on something difficult now. Loss. We don't talk about it enough anymore. Not because it's rare, but because it's constant. We brace for it like bad weather. We expect it. And in doing so, we forget to grieve. So tonight, I'm lighting a candle for names I've been given. Just first names. No details. No last words. Just people someone wanted to remember. Morgan, Jasper, Tyra, Anil, Harper, Diego, Luan, Sister Ruth, Little Eli. I say them out loud because someone asked me to, and because the act of saying matters, even if the person's gone, even if the voice doesn't carry far. Say the names, in the dark, in the cold, on the trail, in the stillness. Say them, because silence is where forgetting begins. A whisper out of Nevada came in last night, coded, almost too distorted to catch. But we cleaned it up, and this is what we heard. The salt is cracking. There's something beneath the basin. It isn't land. That's all. No coordinates. No call for help. Just that line, repeated 3 times. We think it came from somewhere near Black Rock Desert. People have said the playa hums differently now, that it breathes at night, expanding and shrinking like lungs too large to fit the earth. If you're headed west, be careful in the flats. The land there doesn't sleep anymore. Update from a cluster outside Baton Rouge. A community shelter was recently overtaken, not by an attack, but by confusion. Something interfered with their speech. It started with slurring, then full loss of words, thoughts intact, but the mouth unable to catch up, like a skipped record on loop. They said it only lasted minutes, but when it ended, none of their clocks matched. Each one lost a different amount of time. Theories? Some kind of neurological disruption, a pulse, a test, maybe a warning. Whatever it was precise. Localized, which means they're targeting specific people, not just places. If your words ever start to slip, don't panic. Breathe. Write instead. Signal with light. There are still ways to be heard, even when the voice fails. I'll leave you tonight with something I haven't shared before. A letter from a boy who signed it only as R. Dear Radio Man, I don't know what the world was like before. My mom says it had parades and ice cream and parks with music in them. I don't remember any of that, but I like the sound of your voice. It makes me feel like we didn't lose everything, just most things. Maybe the rest will come back if we keep talking. From R. Kid, if you're hearing this, you didn't miss everything. The world's still in here, in us. in the voices we refuse to let die. This is Jordan Hale. You keep talking. I'll keep listening. And together, we'll remember the sound of what we were. This is Jordan Hale, still here, still transmitting across what's left of the morning. You're listening to 99.3 FM, if your dial still means anything. There's a kind of static in the wires tonight, not loud, not jagged, just deep. It hums under everything like a second heartbeat, and when it hits the right pitch, even the walls seem to listen. A new report came in from eastern Colorado. They're calling it the still wind. It starts with everything going absolutely calm. No breeze, no birds, not even the sound of your own footfalls if you're outside. Like the world forgets how to echo. And then comes the real part. A low tone, felt more than heard. A single note that stretches across the plains like it's being pulled from under the soil. Anyone caught in it says the same thing. You can't think straight. Not fear, not panic, just fog, like your thoughts are rerouted somewhere else. People who've walked through it say they lost time. Hours, in some cases. A woman said she walked into still wind at sunset and came out with the moon overhead. But her watch hadn't moved a second. She'd written something on her own hand in that time. 4 words. It asked. I answered. She doesn't remember writing it. So far, it only lasts a few minutes. Then the sound stops. The wind comes back. The birds return, though not always the same ones. Whatever this is, it's growing. If you're traveling through open country and feel everything go too quiet, leave. Walk backward if you have to. Don't let the silence catch you. In the Northwest, someone sent a scrap of paper from a lost outpost near Yakima. Just 1 sentence. They don't take your body. They take where you used to be. It hit me hard because that matches something others have said about voids, places where people used to be, not graves, not bloodstains, just absences, like the space around them forgot how to hold a person. Sometimes it's a house that no longer has the scent it once did, or a chair that never creaks again, a garden that stops growing, like the world edits itself after they leave. And lately, those edits have been faster. A camp up near Edmonton reported that a barn disappeared mid-meal. One moment it was there, holding 5 people and a stash of dry goods. The next moment, just a hole in the dirt. No sound, no flash, just a sudden skip in reality. So what does it mean? We're not sure. Some think the land itself is being rewritten. Others think these things, whatever they are correcting mistakes, erasing choices. But what mistake is a barn? Out in the Great Lakes region, we've been tracking something they're calling the mirror fog. Unlike the mist you're used to, this stuff reflects. Not light, not color, but memory. People walking through it have reported seeing places they haven't been to in years, streets they grew up on, bedrooms long since lost, even people. But the trick is, you can't interact, you can only watch. A man named Felix said he walked through fog for 2 minutes and saw his sister's face 5 feet away. She died 2 years ago, but she was there, sitting in a chair that used to be in their parents' home, folding laundry. When he called her name, she didn't react, just kept folding. Then the fog broke, and the chair was gone. These aren't ghosts. They're echoes, rebounds, maybe even bait. If you find yourself in that kind of fog, keep your eyes low. Don't let your past slow your steps. Because that's what it wants, to stop you, to catch you remembering. Back in the central states, Kansas, Nebraska, parts of Missouri, we're seeing new shapes. Not ships, not towers, but lines. Thin beams in the sky, like fishing wire strung from horizon to horizon. Barely visible unless the light catches them just right at dusk. Pilots say they mess with elevation readings. Walkers say they pass through you, not around. And when they do, for a moment, you feel colder inside your skin than outside it. We've marked 6 of them so far. But there are more. We think they're mapping us, drawing coordinates not on land but on us. Maybe our thoughts, maybe our heat, maybe the dreams we have when we think we're alone. There's something going on beneath Lake Superior. No one's been able to dive since the power went out, but sonar scans, run off manual pulse rigs, have picked up something rising from the floor. Not metal, not rock. Something soft, organic, and growing. It pulses every 4 hours, like a heartbeat on its own rhythm. No light, no heat. Just a soft vibration you can feel if you're standing within a mile of the shoreline. Locals near Thunder Bay say the gulls won't land anymore, and the wind tastes wrong. If you're inland, stay there. Back here at the station, I've been running a low-frequency hum beneath my broadcast, just enough to mask the signal signature. It's been working, so far. The last time I shut it off, the power went out and didn't come back for 3 days. I think the broadcast matters, not because of what I'm saying, but because it marks us, tells them there's still a voice here, still a story running, still someone paying attention. Before I close out this hour, I want to share something someone etched into a piece of wood they left near the railroad tracks just west of Fargo. We don't have to win. We just have to last long enough for the ending to find us. That's not defeat. That's resistance. Sometimes surviving is enough. This is Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM. And I'm still here. You're still on the line with Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM. The snow's started again here, or what looks like snow. The flakes don't melt when they hit the ground anymore. They just sit there, light as ash, cold as bone, dry to the touch. Some people say they hum if you put enough of them in a metal pan. I haven't tested that theory yet. But I believe it. Whatever this stuff is, it isn't weather. It falls only at night, stops right at sunrise. There's no cloud cover, no wind pattern to track it. And every time it comes down, the signal strength drops by half. Some are calling it skyfall. Others call it warning dust. One mechanic said it eats copper like rust on speed. If you see it start to fall, cover your electronics, bury your tools, shut your mouths and breathe through cloth. We don't know if it's alive, but it acts like it is. Now, more strange news from Alaska. I've been trying to confirm this story for days, and we finally got a direct relay. A team north of Anchorage set up camp in an old outpost with steel doors and buried comms. Everything sealed, no windows. And still, they woke up to find a light moving across the inside wall. No source, just a glow, traveling like a shadow cast by nothing. It moved slow, back and forth, almost like it was scanning. One of them tried to touch it. His hand went numb, not cold, not tingly, just absent. For 5 minutes he couldn't feel his own fingers. They worked, but he said it was like they didn't belong to him. Since then, their team's been taking shifts, watching the walls, waiting. It hasn't come back. but the hand still hasn't warmed up. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Do not interact with light you don't understand. If it bends wrong, floats wrong, glows without a source, back away. Speaking of strange light, northern lights are back, or something like them, except they're moving south. Last night, we got reports of auroras in the skies above Oklahoma, Arkansas, and southern Illinois. Pink, blue, yellow. Slow-moving waves like oil on water. No noise. No temperature change. But people who stood under them said they started remembering things that hadn't happened yet. A man in Tulsa said he saw his own hands tying a rope he hadn't touched. A girl in Paducah said she remembered a storm that hasn't hit yet. An old man near Springfield said he watched himself walk into a field he's never seen. They're not hallucinations, not dreams. They're too specific. Whatever's in that light, it's showing us forward or sideways. Or maybe it's just peeling the now into layers and letting us see where the seams used to be. Stay out from under it. The future doesn't belong to us yet, and it might not want us looking. A message came in from a small safe house outside Toronto. They've taken to living underground, not out of fear, but out of necessity. They say the sky's too crowded now. Not ships, not drones, just outlines. Shapes that move only when not directly watched. Clouds that hold too long. Stars that duplicate themselves, then vanish when you blink. They're calling it the ceiling, and they think it's coming down. One of them, her name was Natalie, sent this note. It's not a war. It's not an invasion. It's a retuning. They're adjusting the pitch of the world until we're in harmony, or we break trying. I don't know if she's right, but I can't stop thinking about it. There's a child in Wyoming who draws symbols in the dirt. Same ones, every day. Doesn't talk. Just draws. Nobody taught him the shapes. They don't match anything in known language, but they do match carvings found on the bottom of a drained reservoir near Butte. We cross-checked. Same lines. Same curve. Same break near the base. And here's the part that matters. The child draws new ones now. Not random, not scribbles, progressions. He's continuing a sentence none of us can read. Whatever this is, it started long before us. And we're not its first audience. I've been talking a lot about signals, echoes, things we can't see but feel in our teeth, in our bones. But now something's come in that's not a signal. Not a dream, not even a vision. It's a voice, real, human, but repeating. Looped through abandoned frequencies, bouncing between hills like it's afraid to land. It says, we forgive you, but we remember, and we are watching. That's it. No location, no origin stamp, just that. The cadence is wrong. Like someone imitating emotion. We think it's synthesized, but not by us. So if you hear it, don't answer. Don't repeat it. Just listen, and then turn it off. Because forgiveness offered without context is just bait. A courier from northern Nevada stopped by the edge of our relay line and left a roll of film. Developed it here by hand. Grainy shots of a massive crater, perfectly round, no debris, edges glassed smooth like they were melted in place. Middle of the crater, a door, not a hatch, not a gate, a door. Wooden frame, brass handle, no hinges, nothing around it but stone. People went in. No one's come out. It hasn't moved. The wind won't touch it. Birds don't fly over it. We don't know what's behind it. But if there's a door, someone built it. And if someone built it, someone left it open. This is Jordan Hale. If you're still with me, keep your voice ready. Even if you don't speak out loud, think something sharp, something true. Hold on to your name like a lifeline. Because the world's getting stranger, and you're going to need every piece of yourself to stay human through what's coming next. It's just past midnight, or so I think. You start to lose track of time when the clocks spin wrong and the sun forgets where to rise. But I'm still here, Jordan Hale, broadcasting from 99.3 FM. If you're out there in the Badlands, somewhere near what used to be the Wyoming-Idaho border, keep your distance from the hollow labeled on old maps as Dustin Vale. I've only said that name once on this broadcast. And I'm saying it again now because we got a relay from someone who went in and came back out. Barely. Her name was Lydia, former cartographer. She was trying to chart the new terrain shifts, trace fault lines that didn't exist last year. She thought Dustin Vale was just an abandoned name, a ghost town on a dusty map. She was wrong. She said it started when the trees stopped having shadows. Not right away, just a few of them. Then all of them. She looked back at her own boots, still casting one. But the trees? Nothing. Then the sound changed. Not silence, not static. More like the hum of a highway from far away, except there was no road, no wind. Just that steady, pulsing hum that rose and fell with her breath. She kept going anyway. That's when she saw the sign. Not a welcome sign, a warning, nailed to the ground, not a post. Painted black letters, barely legible. The Vale remembers. No other words, no direction, no threat. But she said when she tried to turn around, the ground felt soft. Not mud, not sand, just wrong. Like the earth had been hollowed out and filled with breath. She ran, got back to her rig, and drove until the hum in her skull stopped. When she finally radioed us, her voice was shaking, not from fear, from recognition. She said she'd seen that place before, not in a dream, not in a photo, but as a child, somewhere buried in the back of memory. She said the Vale had been waiting. So here's my message to all of you out there still moving across the interior. Don't go near Dustin Vale. Don't enter any land where the shadows fail to fall. And if you see a sign that seems like it wasn't made for humans, walk away. Some places didn't survive the invasion. Some places welcomed it. In other news, the relay towers in northern Michigan are back online, barely. Power fluctuations are constant, and they've started noticing a pattern. Every time the signal weakens, the nearby dogs bark. All of them. In sync. Exactly 7 seconds apart. Then silence. And right after, the power stabilizes. Almost like the signal needs that pattern to ground itself. We don't know what it means. Could be biological resonance, could be something else entirely. But if you're manning a signal relay and animals start behaving like metronomes, record it. Monitor what happens after. We think the invaders might be using life itself to stabilize their frequency grids. The new weather system moving through the Pacific Northwest isn't weather. We've confirmed that the rain falling in parts of Oregon and Washington is carrying particulate matter that interferes with mechanical memory. USB drives wiped, tape recorders reversed. One guy said the entire analog reel he'd recorded his daughter's voice on came out playing backward. Not in reverse, not sped up, backward, and and she never said the words it now plays. The new track is in a different voice, not hers. He hasn't played it since. So, if it's raining, especially if the drops don't evaporate or leave spots on glass, don't bring your machines outside. Wrap what you can in foil. Keep your comms gear dry. And whatever you do, don't play back recordings until you're somewhere safe. Because it's not just sound they're stealing anymore. They're rewriting memory itself. A new survivor camp has been established near Asheville, North Carolina. They call themselves the Chorus. They're not religious, not militarized. They're just trying something different. Coordinated frequency response. They broadcast together at the same time on different devices, reading from the same handwritten journal. Doesn't matter what the words are. Could be recipes, could be folk tales, could be dreams, but they read together. And when they do, the air shifts. Their perimeter strengthens. Static clears. One woman said it feels like resonance armor, like voices in unison confuse whatever's watching from above. So maybe that's the answer. Not silence, not screaming. Harmony, even if it's only human. I'm signing off for now. My hands are cold, and the generator's rattling again. But I'll be back. If you're in Dustin Vale, turn around. If you're beneath the aurora, don't stare. And if you're scared to speak, remember, your voice is still yours, and it's still heard. This is Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM. Hold fast, we're not done yet. This is Jordan Hale, still here, still transmitting, still watching the same static ripple across the same broken meters on the same board I've been speaking into for how long now? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. You're still out there, and that means we keep going. Quick update from the Gulf Coast. The tides have changed direction. Not once, not with the storm, permanently. Waves now move inward in places where they used to retreat. Salt water climbing up into rivers that haven't seen a hint of brine in 100 years. It started near Galveston and has crept north along the bayous, rising, swelling, pausing, and then draining back, not to the sea, but somewhere else. Boats that drift too far from the new tide line, they don't come back. One survivor from Louisiana made it to the edge of Mississippi with a message carved into the inside of his canoe. The water leads downward, not out. We don't know what that means yet, but I'm starting to believe him. For those still clustered near the Rockies, particularly the high plains, something strange is happening with the echoes. And I mean literal echoes. People are reporting that their own voices bounce back. Different. Not off. Not reversed. Just changed. Like someone else mimicking them a split second too late. A woman near Fort Collins said she called out to her son while working in the shed. He answered. But then, from the canyon wall behind their house, she heard her own voice repeat the words. Slower. Like it was learning. She said she hasn't spoken above a whisper since. If you hear your own words come back to you with something wrong inside them, don't answer. That echo isn't for you anymore. In Alberta, they've reported something older, pictographs, in caves that had already been mapped decades ago, not fresh carvings, weathered ones, as if they'd always been there and only just now remembered to be visible again. The drawings don't match anything in our known record. Circles, mouthless figures, lines that trace the horizon but curve at the ends like smiles. but the last drawing in every set is the same. A group of figures looking up, and above them, just one line. A vertical mark, like something descending. Here's the part that gets me. In every cave so far, the last mark, the descending line, has been cut deeper, like it was added later. Not by us. Someone or something left a message long ago, and now they're finishing it. A new survivor cluster has emerged in the ruins of what used to be Indianapolis. They're not broadcasting, not writing, not signaling, but they're there. We've received intercepted heat patterns, tight, uniform, repeating in a way that no natural group would sit. We don't know if they're human, but they blink in Morse. And they're sending one phrase over and over. The city is not empty. People near the Great Lakes have confirmed it too. Buildings where power still flows. Lights that switch on in windowless towers. Traffic signals blinking in places where roads are buried. Someone is there. Or something is pretending to be. I want to read something now from a girl named Sienna, 12 years old, sent through a courier named Mason, who found the note inside a mason jar floating down what used to be the Connecticut River. I think the sky broke. Not all at once, just a little, like a crack in a mirror. It still looks like the sky, but when I stare too long, I get a headache in my teeth. I miss grass. I miss loud music. I miss forgetting what time it is because it didn't matter. Tell the sky I didn't do anything wrong. Sienna, if you're hearing this, none of this is your fault. The sky didn't break because of you. And even if the stars don't blink right anymore, you're still here. You're still part of the story. Update from the Nevada deserts. A figure, tall, unmoving, has been spotted near the edge of the old solar farms. Not a ship, not a person. Just a shape. Black, thin, like wire twisted into the form of a human. No face, no movement. But it casts a shadow even when nothing else does. They've started calling it the listener. It only appears after dark. Only where there's residual energy in the sand. Solar panels still humming. Dead batteries warming under the sun. And it only appears if someone's speaking. So if you see it, stop talking. Don't run. Don't wave. Don't scream. Just go quiet. They say it watches for a while, then leaves. But some people who've seen it once, they start hearing whispers. Later, in places where no one's around. In their sleep. Always the same words. Keep talking. We're almost done recording. Whatever that means, it's not comfort. It's a script. And I don't like who's writing it. One last thing before I shut off the board for this segment. They've found a mirror field in eastern Montana. That's what they're calling it. It's not glass, it's land. But when you step into it, the sky above reflects below. Birds fly twice. Clouds pass beneath your boots. Even sound carries weird, bouncing upward. They say if you lie down there, you can hear your own thoughts echo. Not in your head, in the ground. We don't know if it's natural. We don't know if it's safe. But they sent one message scrawled in charcoal across an old highway sign near the edge. This is where the world ends outward. Everything after this goes in. I'll leave you with that for now. This is Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM. And I'm still watching the sky that doesn't blink the way it used to. You hold steady out there. The storm isn't over, but neither are we. You're tuned in to 99.3 FM, This is Jordan Hale still holding the frequency. It's quiet tonight, not peaceful, not soft. The kind of quiet that feels like a mouth breathing in just before the scream. I don't know if you can feel it where you are, but something's about to shift. There's been a surge of movement up north, northern Alberta into the Yukon. Not from ships, from the ground. Tremors without sound, quakes that don't register. But the trees fall anyway, and the snow sinks in smooth circles, like something big is breathing beneath it. One scout said he watched a whole pine forest bend, not snap, like they were bowing towards something underground. The trunks leaned, then straightened again. No wind, no sound, no animal stirred. He left a message before radio contact was lost. He whispered, "They're not coming from space. They were already here." That's been a theory for a while. The ones who say the ships aren't visitors, they're awakeners. That we've been standing on top of something we weren't meant to disturb. And now the key's turned. The Southwest's been getting hotter again. Not from sun, from stone. There are canyons in New Mexico where the rock is warm to the touch even at midnight. Symbols burned into cliff walls. Fresh, not carved. Like lightning kissed the surface in deliberate shapes. We don't know what they mean. But some of the patterns match those found in the ice fields near Nunavut, half a continent away. Same slashes, same broken circles, same spiral that loops back on itself like a path with no exit. Someone, or something, is leaving breadcrumbs in the bones of the earth. And it's not for us. If you're near Salt Lake, avoid the basin. We've confirmed a radius of unreality. Yes, that's the word we're using now. A zone where reality bends. Fire won't burn, knives won't cut, radios fall silent, sound dies mid-air. People go in and come out changed. Not visibly, but inside. One woman said her memories had dust, like they hadn't been touched in a long time, like someone had flipped through them, read a few pages, then put them back out of order. She couldn't remember the smell of her own house, but she could hum a tune she swears she never learned. We're calling these reassembly zones. Something goes in, something comes back, but it may not be the same shape, even if the body looks fine. If your people start acting just slightly off, don't accuse, don't panic, just watch. The ones that come back don't know they're different, and sometimes that makes them more dangerous. Down near the ruins of Atlanta, we've got a new kind of signal, ultra-low pulse tones, not audible to the human ear. But when they play, animals scatter, glass vibrates, and the sky clouds in geometric patterns. They're rhythmic, repeating, the same 5 pulses, then silence, then again. Every 90 minutes. A coder down there's been tracking the intervals. He thinks it's a countdown, that each pulse is marking time not forward, but backward. To what? We don't know. But if something's counting, something's waiting. In a small town outside Tulsa, a man discovered something underneath his barn. An eye, not metaphorical, not drawn, not machine. A perfectly round pit, carved like it was turned by a lathe, with a core that glows dim green at night and pulses when people speak near it. They dropped a radio down. The signal never bounced back. Then, the pit closed. We don't know where it leads. We only know the barn's gone now. So's the man. And the field hasn't grown anything since. I've been collecting names again. Names scratched into wood, etched into tin, inked on the back of ration wrappers and stuffed into old drain pipes where they know someone might pass. Not all of them are messages. Most are just names. like someone wanted to leave behind proof that they were real. So I'll say a few now. Darla, Emmett, June, Theo, Zane, Little Pearl, Marnie and her dog Traps. If you knew them, if they were yours, know this: they mattered. Their names carry farther than the dark. In the ruins of Chicago, they've seen the lights again. Same color as before, blue-white, moving between buildings like wind with purpose. No ship, no shadow, just a flicker that bends when people look too long. But this time, they left something behind. A door. It wasn't there before, just appeared. Freestanding, rusted, no wall to hold it. But anyone who touched it said they felt warmth, saw flickers, heard voices. Some said it showed them people they missed. Others said it showed them themselves, but different. We don't know where the door leads, if anywhere. We don't even know if it opens, but it wasn't there before the lights. So maybe some of this, all of this, is leading somewhere, and maybe that somewhere's trying to let us in. I'll end this segment with something I found carved on the back of an old signal crate we salvaged last week. If they're mapping us, make your shape worth remembering. Hold on to that. You're not just surviving. You're shaping the noise. This is Jordan Hale, 99.3 FM, and I am still part of the map. This is Jordan Hale, coming through whatever's left of the noise. The station creaked last night, not from wind, not from pressure. It was something deeper, like the bones of the building shifted in their sleep. The air went thick, the kind of thick that presses against your thoughts. I didn't speak. I just listened. And in the silence, I heard someone walking on the roof. There's no way up there but the ladder in the back, and I padlocked that 3 days ago. Whoever or whatever it was didn't knock, didn't scratch, just paced, heel to toe, deliberate, 5 steps, stop, 5 steps, stop. When I opened the hatch this morning, there were no footprints, but the dust had moved, swirled, as if someone passed through it without touching it. I'm telling you this because you need to know this isn't all about invasion. It's about presence. They're not always loud, not always violent. Sometimes they're just here. And they want us to know it. Out near Reno, the sands are singing again. Yeah, singing. Not like a melody. Not even like human sound. Just vibration across grains of dust that forms tone. Walk far enough into the dunes and you'll hear it. A low, even hum. Changes pitch depending on how fast you breathe. One man said it harmonized with him. Another said it mimicked his footsteps before he took them. Only one came back. We think the sound is spatial, not audible. Something that maps you as you move, tracks your heartbeat, your oxygen intake, your intention. And then, it makes a choice. No one who's run through that place made it out. Only the ones who walked. Slowly. Like they belonged. So if you're out there, move carefully. Don't just survive the desert, respect it. We've had a number of reports now from old missile silos in the Dakotas. One's long abandoned. Most were empty. Most still are. But 3 of them have power again. No crews, no signatures, just warmth, light, and sealed doors humming with stored energy. Scouts say they heard mechanical ticking inside. One swore they heard an old film reel running, but no one's gone in. They say something about the air around the entrances feels edited, like you're walking into a memory that doesn't belong to you. We don't think this is ours anymore. Whatever's inside, it remembered how to wake up. You know, I've talked a lot on this frequency about what's lost, what's gone, what's been taken or erased. But tonight I want to talk about what's still here. I got a letter last week. Paper, weather-worn, stuffed in a repurposed food can and dropped at a known dead drop in western Colorado. It read, "We still teach the kids to read. By firelight, by flashlight. Off old cereal boxes and instruction manuals. We make stories out of warning labels and write poems in the margins of expired maps. If we can teach them to read, they'll never be fully alone. Not really." That hit me hard, because whoever wrote that understands something vital. Survival isn't just eating, breathing, running. It's remembering how to connect. If you're lucky enough to be around someone younger, show them something. Doesn't have to be fancy. Doesn't even have to be right. Just share. They're the echo we'll leave behind. And they're listening, even when the sky isn't. Outside Portland, a group of engineers has done something I didn't think was possible. They rebuilt an AM transmitter, fully analog. No chips, no satellites, just steel, sweat, and stubbornness. They call themselves the Loom because they're stitching signals back together. They've begun sending out bedtime stories every night at the same hour, not for children necessarily, but for whoever needs to hear a softer voice. They read from books they salvaged, sometimes just speak from memory. A man with a gravel voice recited "Where the Wild Things Are" last night. Didn't matter that no one could see the pictures. People still cried. You don't need electricity to feel something real. All you need is a voice. Further south, someone found a town that wasn't supposed to be there. On no map, no GPS. Just rows of houses, still lit, still warm, but empty. Clothes hung out on lines, water running, radios tuned to dead channels. No people, not even dust. One hiker said she walked down the main road and every house she passed whispered something different. Not loud, not threatening, just intimate. As if the walls remembered conversations and couldn't help but repeat them. She didn't stay long. But she left this note carved into a road sign on the way out. This isn't a town. It's a reflection of what we used to be, or what we're about to become. We've had scouts look for the place since. It's gone now. No proof it was ever real. But the road sign's still there. This is how it is now. The world folds in places, blinks, rewinds, remembers. And all we can do is witness. One last thing before I power down for the night. A survivor from what's left of Nashville found an old stage light, wired it to a generator, set it on a tripod facing out across the ruins. He plays music through it. Doesn't matter if no one's watching. Says he just wants the sound and light to meet at the edge of something. He says it makes the city feel real again. Says it keeps the watchers at bay. He wrote something in chalk beneath the tripod. The show doesn't end until the last light goes dark. So I'll leave mine on just a little longer tonight. And if you're listening, know this. I haven't turned away. Not once. Not yet. This is Jordan Hale. 99.3 FM. We are not finished. This is Jordan Hale. 99.3 FM. If you're just tuning in, you're late to a party that never wanted guests. But that's okay. There's still space around the fire, and we're still breathing. We got a burst signal out of what used to be Tucson. Someone named Clay said he's been alone for 4 months, living off dried lentils and melted snow. Doesn't talk much. Doesn't trust machines anymore. Not since his shortwave started echoing his thoughts before he spoke. Yeah, you heard that right. He said he'd think about a memory, his father's hands, the sound of bees in a mesquite tree, and then the radio would say it back to him. Word for word. He unplugged it, wrapped it in foil, buried it 2 miles out. He's still hearing it. Now maybe it's the isolation. Maybe it's a symptom of being alone too long. But what if it's something else? What if the signal isn't just listening? What if it remembers? You ever lose a thought and feel like something else caught it? I do. All the time. Across the plains, survivors are reporting stretches of land where gravity's wrong. Not gone, just off. Bullets curve left. Rain falls faster than it should. People walk uphill and don't feel resistance. Then downhill feels heavy. One group outside Wichita found a truck parked at an angle that should have tipped it. But it stayed, balanced. When they drove through the same stretch, their hair stood up. Not from static, just from presence. Something unseen was holding them in place. Briefly, they call it the bend. And it's moving east. Every couple of days I check in on the storm wall out in the Dakotas. I've mentioned it before. Black clouds pinned to the horizon that haven't moved in over a month. Well, now they're glowing from underneath. Not lightning, not fire, just steady, golden light. Like there's a sun inside the storm. Nobody's gone in. Not since the first scout didn't come back. But we've picked up something strange on the audio feed. A pulse that sounds like a child counting. Not fast. Just 1, 2, 3. Then silence. Then again. Always the same. We don't know who's counting or what they're waiting for. In a small cluster near Erie, Pennsylvania, someone's built what they're calling a memory market. It's not for trade, not really. Just a place where people leave fragments of what the world used to be. A shoelace from a prom night, a pack of gum from a vending machine, a concert stub, an old key nobody remembers the door to. No price, no labels, just offerings. They say if you sit long enough among the piles, you start remembering things you never lived. A woman said she smelled the inside of a movie theater. A boy said he remembered kissing someone in a car he never owned. We don't know if the memories are real, or shared, or borrowed, but there's something. Proof that somewhere the shape of us still echoes. To the people hiding in the Rockies, stay out of the tunnels. We've got confirmation now. Whatever those deep rumbles were, they weren't just tectonic. One team found a passage that wasn't there last winter. Perfectly round. No tool marks. Walls smooth as poured metal. They followed it for half a mile before they turned around. They said the sound behind them started following, like footsteps, but softer. And when they left, one of them had a nosebleed that lasted 3 hours. They don't remember the last 100 feet of the tunnel. Just a single phrase carved into the wall on the way out. Don't step where they listen. In other words, some places aren't for us. Some spaces were dug by something else. Something that remembers being beneath us before we ever looked up. There's something moving through the Rust Belt. Ohio, Indiana, upstate New York. A vanishing. Whole towns that don't go dark. They just Empty. No smashed windows, no broken doors, just no people. Food still warm on stoves. Radios still playing static. Laundry on lines. But no bodies. No signs of struggle. Like a breath held too long and exhaled all at once. And the weirdest part? They all vanish at the same time. We tracked 3 this past week, all gone at 2:17 a.m. No wind, no warning. They just blink out of relevance. We don't know where they go. But if you're near a population cluster and the lights start flickering without sound, get out. Grab what you can. Move fast. Don't look back. Once it starts, it's already too late. Before I sign off this hour, I want to say something I've been holding on to. Even now, after all of this, I still believe in rescue. Not in the old way. Not military. Not government. Not cavalry coming over the ridge. But in us. In messages passed in the dark. In one stranger dragging another across a frozen parking lot without asking for a name. In jars left under bridges. In lights blinked in patterns no one taught, but someone understood anyway. That's rescue. That's what keeps us from becoming part of the silence. So keep speaking. Even if it's only to yourself. Even if it's just one word, one name, one breath. They haven't taken that yet, and they won't. Not while I'm still here. This is Jordan Hale. 99.3 FM. If the sky falls, we speak louder.